But I found it interesting, Preston Thorne, when I went to the SEC, I saw South Carolina ranked 12th on the list of best off seasons in the Southeastern Conference. Reminder, there are 16 teams in the SEC. 12th of 16. And I couldn't help but think, and I don't know, it's just because if I'm here in Columbia every day and we think about this football team every single day, that maybe that is what fuels my belief that they're a little underrated here. But then I went through it and I read through all the descriptions because they'll give you the key additions, the key departures, top incoming recruits. They do a write-up on the biggest coaching move, what went wrong, what went right during this offseason. And I weighed through a lot of that, and I couldn't help but think that ESPN, I think, is underrating what South Carolina did in the offseason.
Well, let's start with who at least we ain't, all right?
Yes.
So if we're at 12, it's really interesting to me that, and this goes to your theory that I think we're building the case here, they had Arkansas at 16 out of 16.
Yeah, they're still firmly in football hell.
That's not where you want to be after you hire a new coach. You're supposed to get some sort of bump after hiring a new coach, right? Something's supposed to happen. So they have Arkansas at 16. That's not great. Mississippi State, 15. They're coming off this year 2. I think it's supposed to be developing. It's supposed to be happening for them. It's supposed to be on the trajectory, upward climb. Not happening. 14, Vanderbilt. You're coming off of 9 wins. Your best season ever. Your statue season. Everything's supposed to be in place. You kept your coach. You got a 5-star quarterback. That didn't happen. Moving up from there. Auburn. And again, new coach. 13 with the new coach. You're supposed to be on the trajectory. You're supposed to be feeling a lot better about yourself. So while I do think it's underrated, I'm not necessarily in a bad spot with them being 12, coming off of a 4-8 season, having a coach who's probably going to be on the hot seat if things don't change. I think 12 means that they actually had a very solid offseason, if that makes sense to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, here's the thing about like the SEC when you're weighing out off seasons. It's mostly trying to do the mental arithmetic of, okay, you add these players, subtract these players, and then maybe try to incorporate impact of new coaches, and then where do you get in all this? And for South Carolina, I know they had the key departures as Brandon Cisse, Jalen Kilgore, Nick Barrett, and I get that, with the key additions being Jacarius Peak, Tommy Durajai, and Caleb Herring, and then the top incoming recruits of Darius Gray, Julian Walker, Jazavian Currents. And then it mentions the biggest coaching move is bringing in Kendall Briles and Coach Randy Clements to shore up an offense that was one of the worst in all power conference football last year. And I think all of that would lead me to be like, oh, and that just tells you that that's 12.
Which, as you read it, this is why when you read something, it's always interesting what pre-existing knowledge you bring to what you're reading. Because if I was reading this blindly, the things that they have that are listed wrong, I don't see any real issues with the things that they have that went wrong. They're saying 3 things went wrong. They're saying that we lost DQ Smith. DQ was obviously a leader for the team. He was here for a long time. But I do feel like DQ's skill set, at least his physical skill set, is replaceable. Yes. And we know Peyton Williams is going to be there for that.
I think we all feel good about that.
We all feel very, very fine about that. It says that they lost their leading rusher, Rasul Faison. Leading rusher statistically, but I don't think anybody locally is saying, oh, man, we're not going to have Rasul this year. And I think a lot of that was based on the running back coach and the way that they used him, and things just didn't go right last year. And then the last thing to have is Vandrevius Jacobs. Now, he was the number 2 receiver. That's an issue, but we also understand that he went home. Mm-hmm. He left here. He went home. He's playing for the number 2 team in the nation. You can't really count that as a loss when somebody leaves your program to go home to play for the number 2 program in the nation. You kind of throw your hands up at that. Yeah, so when I read the things that went wrong, I hear it, I read it, but I don't. With me having knowledge of the situation here, I don't even really consider those strikes.